So if you're a dog owner here in Times River, you already know how great it is. But you also know that having a well-behaved dog makes it even better. In this explainer, we're going to walk through everything you need to know to find that perfect local trainer for you and your best friend. We all have that vision in our heads, don't we? A nice, calm walk down the boardwalk, or just a peaceful day at the park. That's the goal. Well, the right training is what turns that picture into your actual, everyday reality. All right, so here's what we're going to cover. First, why a local trainer is so valuable here. Then, what actually makes a trainer great. We'll look at programs and costs, the questions you absolutely need to ask, and we'll wrap up with some key local rules and resources. Let's get to it. Living in Toms River means you and your dog have to navigate all sorts of situations. One minute, it's the busy summer crowds. The next, it's a quiet neighborhood street. A dog that's been well-trained can handle all of that confidently, so you can bring them along on all your adventures completely stress-free. And that's exactly why having a local trainer is such a big deal. They get it. They understand the specific distractions your dog is going to run into. You know, the seagulls at the waterfront or the traffic in the shopping center parking lots. They can build a training plan that prepares your dog for your life, right here. Okay, so you know you need a trainer, but how can you tell a great one from just an okay one? Let's talk about the core things to look for, and it really all starts with their training philosophy. You are going to hear this term a lot, and for good reason: positive reinforcement. All it really means is using rewards, like a good treat or a bunch of praise, to encourage the behaviors you want to see. It basically turns learning into a fun game and helps you build an incredible bond of trust with your dog. When you think about it, there are really two different paths in dog training. Reward-based methods create a dog that wants to work with you. The other path, which uses fear or intimidation, might seem to stop a behavior for a minute, but it often leads to much bigger problems, like anxiety or even aggression. The choice is pretty clear. You always want to go down the path that builds trust. I know, when you see a bunch of letters like this, it can look like alphabet soup. But just think of these as a badge of quality. They show that a trainer has put in the work, passed some tough exams, and is committed to using modern, humane methods. It's a very strong sign you're dealing with a real professional. Next up, let's get into the practical side of things. We'll talk about the different kinds of training programs available and what you might expect to invest. The right format really is going to depend on your specific goals and your dog's personality. For the most part, you'll find two main options. Group classes are fantastic for practicing things like stay when there are other dogs around. But if you're dealing with problems that are happening inside your house, like your dog going wild when the doorbell rings, then private in-home sessions are usually the best way to fix those problems, right where they start. All right, let's talk about the costs. This gives you a general ballpark for training prices here in the Toms River area. As you can see, there's a pretty big range. And just remember, trainers with a ton of experience or special certifications, especially for tougher issues like aggression, will probably be toward the higher end of these estimates. So you've found a few trainers that look promising, you like their philosophy, and the cost fits your budget. Now comes the most important step of all, the interview. This conversation is where you really figure out if they're the right person for the job. And you definitely want to go into that conversation ready to go, right? Here are the must-ask questions. You'll want to pay really close attention to how they answer the questions about methods and customization. A great trainer won't have a one-size-fits-all plan. In fact, a good sign is when they start asking you a ton of questions too. They should be able to clearly explain how they'll track progress and what you need to do at home. All right, let's wrap up with some practical local info. Being a responsible dog owner means knowing the rules of the road and the best places to go to set your dog up for success. 6 feet. This is the number you need to remember. In Toms River, the law says your leash has to be 6 feet or shorter in all public areas. Sticking to a standard leash of that length isn't just about following the rule. It's also just the safest way to manage your dog when you're out and about. And here are the other key rules to keep in mind. You have to license your dog with the township every year, and, of course, they need to be current on their rabies vaccine. That's a state law. And that last point about barking, it's a great reminder that training helps you be a good neighbor, too. So after you start training, you'll need some good places to practice. The fenced-in dog parks at Winding River and Huddy Park are perfect for working on off-leash skills like recall. And if you need to practice walking nicely on a leash with other people and dogs around, the trails at Caddis Island County Park are an excellent spot. Ultimately, choosing the right trainer is the first big step in building an incredible partnership with your dog. A well-trained companion makes every single part of your life more enjoyable, every walk around the block, every visit from friends, and every quiet evening at home. It just makes everything better for everyone.